Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Counting Blessings, where I want to be an inspiration for others through the knowledge I have gained during my homeschooling adventures. I have scoured the internet many times looking for ideas, something else that I can try, something new. How do they plan? What's a good curriculum? Things of that nature. And I want to use this video time to help someone else the way that I've been helped in the past. Now, please keep in mind, this is my first video, and if I ramble, I apologize ahead of time. I'm going to try to make it as short and sweet and to the point as possible. And for those of you, please also remember that these are my thoughts, my opinions, and if you don't like them, that's okay. I just want to be a tool that you can use with you while you're at home, for you to use while you're at home teaching your children, whether it's because the COVID-19 pandemic that's going on in our world today, or if you've decided that you're going to homeschool your children. I just want to be a tool that you can use to gain knowledge and something that maybe you want to implement at your home. Now, I also want to start that I've got this inspiration to become a YouTuber and to make my channel called Counting Blessings because of a text message I received from my cousin early on during this COVID-19 pandemic. I think it was probably the first full week that the kids no longer went to school. She sent me a message saying something along the lines of, hey, if you ever want us to take David for the afternoon, let us know. I've been doing this homeschooling thing for a day and it's kicking my butt. And to be honest, I laughed. I really, really laughed. I also sent her back like a little bit of inspiration, like, you've got this. It's really not gonna be that hard, just take it one day at a time type thing, and like told her that she could do this. I shared it with my husband and I shared it with my son, and please keep in mind, I didn't laugh because I thought it was funny. I laughed more along the lines because she was an elementary school teacher. I felt that if there was anyone that was equipped to teach their children at home, would be her. Now, mind you, I know that teaching your own kids at home is not easy. It's not. And it's completely different than teaching in a classroom setting where you have 20 plus kids. But I really felt that if anyone could handle it, she could. And that's why I laughed. Not because I thought it was funny. I just thought that it was really funny that she texted out to me and told me that she didn't know how I did things. And that because she was having a hard time. So that night I thought things over and I'm like, you know what? She needs a little more inspiration. And I shared with her some things that have helped me in the past. And because I did that and I felt that I helped her, because I shared with her at that point in time that she was only a mediator. She wasn't intended to actually teach her kids. She's the mom. And during this time, this was like the first week, and I told her, I was like, what you really need to do is probably maintain their academic level. Help keep them reading, keep them writing, keep them working on math. I mean, you know what they're working on based on the homework they've done prior. Just keep them at that level. Multiplication tables, division facts, adding and subtracting, things that we all need to know. I just told her just to quiz them on that, keep them at where they're at, keep them reading, keep them writing, keep them engaged. And that's the same thing I would tell any parent that's struggling right now, is just keep your kids engaged, keep them going. You're a mediator. Also, with that being said, keep in mind that I know that there's a lot going on out there now as when this came about with, there's e-learning going on, and I know that teachers are teaching from their own living rooms, giving e-lessons through Zoom and whatnot, and any other things that certain school districts have created for you guys. Please, as parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever's the one helping your kids doing their schoolwork during this time, reach out to your children's teachers. Use the tools available for you from your school district. Just keep in mind that you are a mediator. You're a tool that they are using to keep your kids engaged. And that being said, I also want to be a tool that you can use by way of ideas that I use that I've found to be productive for me. And on that note, this video is going to be about how I go about setting up for a productive day of school. Now, keep in mind, it doesn't always work this well, but having a plan does help. So I'm going to share with you what I do to set up for my school day. Now, the first thing is, let's say, for example, that I'm setting up for my day of school on Tuesday. That setup process begins Monday night, the night before the next school day. I get all of his written work or any assignments he has completed on Monday, and I go through them and I grade them. Now, I'm not grading to put down an actual number grade to put in a grade book. No, what I'm looking for is things that he understood, things that he struggled with, things that he got wrong. And I'm taking notes, trying to figure, okay, does he need more explanation with whatever assignment he's struggling with? Does he need to reread through his social studies lesson? Do I need to reiterate the process in his math lesson? And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for things that he's struggling with, and I'm circling things that he got wrong. Now, there are times where he doesn't have much that he got wrong, and those papers go into a section in his binder called to be filed, where he files away all his correct work. And there's another file in his binder that's called correcting work. And that's where I put all the papers that I have graded and circled that were incorrect or that he needs to redo in that part of his binder. And I'll get to more about the correcting work in a little bit. But that's what I do. The first thing that I do is I look through all of his assignments, find out where he's struggling, if he's struggling, make notes on that. And the next thing I do is I take those notes and I pair them up with my current lesson plan for that Tuesday. And I make adjustments, or I add to, or I rearrange some things so that we can move forward. And I make more notes and more adjustments based on what I now know he's struggling with. And I also make notes on what morning work's going to be at that point in time because of his correcting work. Now, after I've done that and I say, okay, this is what our assignments are going to be that day, I go on and I go through each subject that we're going to be doing that day. English, math, spelling, science, social studies, whatever is on the agenda for that day. And I read over that lesson and I gather any supplies that I need as teaching aids, whether if it's a visual, or if we have to do the globe because we're explaining the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere with the equator and the lines of latitude and lines of longitude. It's easier if he's able to see things. So if I need to grab the globe, or if I can draw something on the whiteboard, sketch out what I need to do so I can explain things. That's getting everything together so I have in one central location with my lesson planner. Sorry, my itches. But that's what I do at that stage. So far I have graded and taken notes, compared it with my lesson plan, and I've gotten everything together that I'm going to need for that next day of school when I put in a centralized location. And then the fourth step is getting things written out for him. I use two whiteboards where I do a lot of my schooling. The first one is the actual classroom whiteboard, in a sense, where it's where I do all my explanations. We work problems together. I explain spelling words, why they're spelled certain ways, what letters are making sounds, that kind of thing. And then I have another one that I call the game plan board. And so on the actual school board, the first whiteboard, the main whiteboard, I put morning work assignments. Now, morning work I use in a sense that he can start working on some assignments that I want him to do, whether if it's reading a section in his social studies book or working on the correcting work that he missed the day before, or if I'm going to give a small lecture based on what he missed the day before, just to get him re-engaged and redoing. Also, I put up there his independent work, which are all his assignments that he is responsible for that day. Now, that's how I do my schooling at home, because I want him, my son, to take responsibility for his assignments. And that's how I've chose to do that. That is what works for us. Normally, I'm not at home at night, but I am now because of COVID-19. And if you want to know more about what's changed for me, I'll gladly share that video with me. Just let me know down in the comments if you want to know how my homeschooling life has changed now that I'm at home more, because I am a working mom. I'm just not working now. Please let me know if you want to know more about that. But anyway, so back to his independent work. That's whatever page in English that he needs to do. That's whatever math page that he's responsible for. And he copies them down in his agenda. He's taken responsibility for his assignments. If they do not get completed, or I go looking for them at the grading portion of that evening, then I make a note of that and realize, okay, you know what, you didn't finish your schoolwork today, so we're going to start where you did not finish. And his school day goes further into the day than anticipated based on the choices he made the day before. But that's how I homeschooling. That may not work for everybody. Now, once I've got the morning work and the independent work on the whiteboard, I go to my secondary whiteboard, which I consider my game plan whiteboard. we used to struggle with throughout the school day, my son asking me constantly, how much more schoolwork is done? How many more pages do we have to do? Things like that. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to write down a list in the order that I plan to complete them that day so that he knows where we're at in the school day. So I started a game plan board on the top. I like morning work, whatever lesson we're going to do first. And that changes from day to day. I don't always teach English first. I don't always teach math second, because depending on what's going on that day within our family, whether if we had doctor's appointments or we had an activity to do with friends outside of the home, I wanted to make schoolwork work around that so that we can still take advantage of the spontaneity that homeschooling provides for us. So I created a game plan for that day so he knows what has to get done that day. Now, throughout the day, that may change and adjust too, but that's part of homeschooling. Make changes when you need to. If it turns out that math lesson's taking longer than you thought it would, it's okay. Adjust at that point in time. But it works out well so that my son sees what's coming up next. What do we have to do? Hey, we're at such and such point. We've gotten all the way down through science. The only thing we have left to do after lunch is to go over spelling. And he's like, wow, I'm almost done with the day. And that is part of it. I like to start school usually about somewhere between 8:30 and 9 in the morning. And usually I want to be done with my portion of the lecturing and explaining before lunch so that he can start on his independent work and be done and we can go outside and play. But like I said, these are the tools that I use to help me set up for the next school day. Some things work better than others on some days, and some days everything goes out the window because when I wake up in the morning, go to make my coffee, or I burn the breakfast, coffee's everywhere, whatever the case may be, life does happen. But it's what I do the night before that helps me set up for possibly a productive school day. I hope that this has helped you, and if you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. This is my first video, so please subscribe if you liked it and want to see more, and I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day.